My sweet Faith First Fishing, Schoolmaster, Captain Bank Fishing, Rich, John Smith. I did get the computer working. I just, I think, uh, gave it the old restart. It looks like it's a little laggy. My mouth is moving kind of funky, but oh, let me see if I can fix that. Maybe poor internet connection. Is it better? Rich, how goes it? How's the weather up there in PA? It's probably one of my favorite things about doing these little talks is getting everybody's weather reports. What is this flying around my office? A gnat. A gnat. Those are the worst. Enjoying a heat wave. Yes, nice outside today. It is nice outside today. You could probably wear shorts and a t-shirt. I went out, did I tell y'all I went fishing Monday? You up northers, this will probably piss you off. But the water temp was 63. Which out in the river, that's the warmest we saw. The coldest was 57 out in the river. Corey, your baits are done. Your baits are done. They're sitting out there baking in the sun. The paint man. Corey, that's what all my buddies call me. The painter. Hey, painter. What's up? That's me, the painter. Where's all my with no eyes? Yeah, only Corey likes his bait eyeless. That was my first in many years. Rich, did you send me baits? No, I haven't got any baits from you. Not yet. Hope you didn't send them a month ago because I have not received anything. Have not received anything. Josh, you don't like eyes either? Are you Corey's buddy? He's my son. Oh, I need an explanation for this family trait that doesn't like eyes on their crankbait. How did this come to fruition? Well, I've talked about it before. It's like it's funny to me because I would certainly think that eyes on a bait wouldn't cost you bites. Right? So if you got eyes on a bait, a fish shouldn't not bite it because it's got eyes. But to completely remove them would imply to me that the eyes would get you less bites. So you would rather have none for your catching to go up. Which doesn't matter to me, but it's an interesting concept. Nate Rolling, what's up, Jeremy? How goes it? Yeah, Strike Kings are the worst. Uh, Soft plastics don't have eyes. I mean, not really, but I mean, how much soft plastic stuff really looks like something like a shad? I guess a fluke looks kind of shaddy, but most of the hollow belly swim baits, they all come with eyes. Not to say you can't catch a fish with a soft plastic without eyes, but I'm trying to think what other common, like a worm. You can't put eye. I mean, you could put eyes on a worm, but it would look dumb because what does a worm really look like? If it's matching a worm doesn't have eyes. Cinco doesn't have eyes. The only thing I could think of that would look pretty decent with eyes is a oh son of a bitch. We're trying to look just like a shad. Let's take those red eyes off of there. Come on. Oh. Uh. Yeah, I've heard. I don't know. I don't know if there is a good way to attach eyes to a soft plastic bait. The only way I've seen that's like half-ass durable is like guys would take like a hollow belly swim bait, and then they would put the eyes on, and then they would dip it in clear plastisol to like seal the eyes. But I think that looks like ass. Um, and then you super glue them in, and I guess super glue doesn't really stick that good to eyes anyway. Um, if it's a tight shad wrap or a flat side, you won't see them. Yeah, I mean it's probably wiggling so fast, and I mean you really wouldn't see them anyway. But back to my point, to remove them completely would say that they cost you bites. If you just leave eyes on them, and the fish couldn't see them anyway, oh well, right? Somehow BOGO baits have some on their 3.75 patterns. I'm not sure if they're durable or not. I don't know. I've never. I don't know that I throw any kind of. I don't know that I have any. I don't think I have any soft plastics with eyes. I mean, I could probably dig up some whatchamacallits. I think I've got some Berkeley hollow bellies over there. But the thing I don't necessarily mind uh I don't necessarily mind eyes. I can give or take eyes on like a swim jig or a spinner bait. I don't have to have them on those. Those don't bother me. Like the old Stanley wedge spinner baits that were just like, I think that head design of the old Stanley spinnerbait was sexy enough that it didn't need it didn't need eyes. But like the Hank Parker and the hog collar, those look good with eyes. Uh, I'm with you, Rich. So Josh, is it it's also color of the eyes is an issue also, that they're not accurate to mimicking a fish. Is fun is That's what's so interesting about the fishing world. Like that's the biggest deal for you, is that the color is not accurate. So you're not necessarily anti eye if they're accurately depicting a fish's eye. Okay, I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Uh, but in all my years of doing this, it's funny that I would uh, I would post baits on Facebook before Instagram, and everybody seemed to always have an opinion over the eye color on a plastic bait. Like if I painted like a RC 1.5 and I put gold eyes in it, there was going to be somebody that commented that bait would look awesome if it had red eyes. And then I never was a huge fan of red eyes. Uh, I didn't. I just they just I didn't like certain colors look good with the red eyes, but I didn't really. It wasn't on the top of my list. I would typically always use gold or silver because they just looked right. And if I were to deviate and use gold, I mean use red to try and appease the red eyers, then the other camp would show up and say that bait would look sweet if it had a gold eye in it. Like I said, that was on the that was in the early days of Facebook, pre-Instagram, when I was just getting going. And then after that, I realized quickly, uh, no need to try and appeal to the masses, because there is you'll never appeal to everybody. Same thing with hooks. Like I could put the sharpest whatever gamakatsus on here, and people are going to buy these, and as soon as they get them, they're going to take them off and put owners on it or whatever. You know what I mean? And or they're going to put Hayabusas on it or whatever they like fishing. And same thing with eyes. You just gotta, which I'm glad I learned that lesson early on. You can't really appeal to everybody, so you just kind of gotta do what you like. That's what that was always my business model with painting baits to sell. I always painted them selfishly for myself, because at the end of the day, if nobody ever bought one, I would be happy with them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have like a bunch of stuff that I didn't like. So it's pretty much what I still do. Pretty much what I still do. I have seen those used, Faith First. I have seen the googly eyes from Hobby Lobby or Michaels or any of the craft stores. What's that dude? I forget his name. He makes a swim bait and puts the googly eyes in them. It actually looks pretty decent. Like it looks absurd, but it looks pretty decent. me get to my YouTubers. Um, John. Oh, that's another one. Um, uh, Mendit seems to work best. As you dip the eyes in clear plastisol, the eyes will always come off. There you go. I never saw anybody put eyes on a white tube. Doesn't surprise me though. The red gill line or the gill marking on the side. What do y'all think about that? Gotta have it? Don't care. A lot of baits come with it, some don't. I like them if they're done well, like if they're a cool shape. Like Reactions gill on a Vixen's cool. A lot of them. I'm trying to think who has the coolest one. Tim, what's up, dude? Who has the coolest gill marking? Has to match. That's what I'm saying. So it's got to look. Got to be done right. Has Lucky Craft ever done it? Overall, do you see that if you catch a shad, like swimming in the water, can you see the gill flare? I don't know. I don't know. Probably at some point. Josh, you must not throw chartreuse. I'm trying to think. Your webcam on Instagram is looking especially crispy today. Wonder why. Josh, how can you be so hardcore on detail and then throw the most unrealistic color on earth? I guess there's probably less. I don't know. Would that be the most unrealistic color in the fishing? No, I would think chartreuse would be kind of. It would fall into probably looking like something. I'm trying to think which neon would not pass for anything. I guess neon pink. I can't think of anything in nature that's like chartreuse could probably pass for a perch. But I don't know that there's anything swimming around pink. Got to be pink. Darius, how was the fish biting? I'm trying to look at Josh's picture and I can't see a blue shirt. I see a fish. I can't. In the mud. Pink is a great saltwater color. That's what we used to always throw that electric chicken trout fishing. It's pink and green. Hideously ugly. But those jokers like it. You know, in all my trout fishing festivities, my greatest soft plastic color consistently was always the lamest. It was made by Bass Assassin Saltwater Line, Saltwater Assassin, and it was this little mini. It looked like a fluke body, and it had a single curly tail grub on the back, and the color was called shrimp, and it was basically like a bone white with red flake in it. And I've got like packs of damn everything under the sun: matrix shads, cockahoe minnows, you name it, we've got it in there. And that super simple white and red shrimp color has always caught them. Tim's at home playing in the bait laboratory. Where did slow today, muddy and windy. We had 5 inches of rain. Darius, is there any places on Kentucky Lake that have like a runoff, like where you could go fish a runoff, like rainwater flowing into the lake? Gobies have a little pink. That's interesting. I've never seen a goby in person, and believe it or not, in 10 years of lure painting, I've only had one person ever ask for me to paint a goby for them. It's not a lot. Not many people trying to match gobies on hard baits. Don't know why, but I've never, maybe once. And I don't even think the guy had me paint it. I think he just asked, have you ever painted a goby? No. See you later. All kinds, and tried 3 of them today. Nothing really going on. That's a shame. That would have been fun to roll your spinner bait up in the drain. Seems like that was. Faith First has been out here all day and not a dang perch has bit a minnow. Damn, that's bad. If you can't even get a minnow to die. It's because they never get more than a millimeter off the bottom of the lake. That's interesting. I would think a fish would see that as a weakness, right? You see a fish sees a little goby swimming and bumping on the top of a rock, they might think, ooh, that guy's mentally ill or physically. I should probably capture him with my mouth. That didn't sound great. Producto had them floating crawls. What about the Riverside floaters? I've still got a pack of those. The damn centipedes. What are they called? Just had like air pockets in them. The fry. The air fry. That's what they were called. Air crawl, air fry. What happened to Riverside? They were pretty good. Also used red and yellow in their branding, just like everybody else on the planet. Air crawl, the air fry. Did they have anything else aired? A paperweight. I can do that. I like painting paperweights because they have smooth sides and paint shows up well on them. I love painting paperweights. I don't remember the bridge man looking up there. Just going as hell. Have I ever thrown one? What, Eric? An air crawl? No, if I go dig that pack of worms up, it's probably from when I was in middle school. Bill Dance sold me on them, I think. Um, and I bet if I go and find that pack over there and all my stuff, I will have a full pack minus maybe one. Good gizzard or white perch color. I've got all kinds, man. I've got all kinds. The sky's the limit. If you have a picture of this is what I usually prefer to do. If you have a picture of a gizzard that's like local to you or whatever you're trying to match, send me the picture, and then I can just match off the picture. That's the easiest way to do. Because I really don't have like there is nothing, and it gets me into a lot of trouble with having to try and recreate this stuff. But uh, I don't have anything standardized uh, that's like here's one paint job and I do it the same every time, like a catalog of colors that you like. I've just never painted like that. Eric, I have not. I have not. I have just painted. I've painted a bunch of them. Um, but there is a lot more of it. It's coming back though. I gotta. I really miss the mustache. So I figured I'd give everybody a good peek at what my actual face looks like until I cover it back up with the Burt Reynolds stash. A Demiki air crawl. Demiki has the same Riverside technology. They adopted it. Uh, Imagine that, Eric. Eric, I don't like painting the that's what Josh is talking about over here, painting a white perch. I never like a white perch it doesn't look like anything. Like if you had to paint a white perch on a scaled bait where you couldn't see like scaled definition, I mean, I feel like you'd just be looking like at a pearly silver bait with a little bit darker back. Like it's not like a gray ghost kind of. It's like not a lot to it. Um, but it's like greenback. Yeah, they got that kind of like muted out. It's not olive. It's like a. It's kind of like a. I don't know. I don't even know what that color. What color that even's called on the spectrum. It's weird. I know what you're talking about though. Um, yeah, they just kind of look like a greeny, goldy, silvery. I guess that's it's an interesting color because they're like all they're this one color, but then like when you look at them, you're like, that's not really green. It's kind of silver. And then you look at it, you're like, it's kind of gold, but it's not. It's kind of silver, but it has like these undertones. I guess is what the thing is. There's nothing that pops on it. It's all these really light undertones in like a silver base. Speckled perch designs. I'm not sure if I know what a speckled perch is. I know what a speckled trout is. Is that different? Is this a freshwater fish? Speckled perch. What is a speckled perch? I'm sure I do. Like I said, I think I've painted every fish on the planet up to this point except a goby. Oh, a crappie. Yes, yes, yes. I have painted. Let me show you. Where was it? I just had a screenshot of it. Some dude asked me for a crappie picture not too long ago. Maybe I deleted it. There's the goat picture. Well, I guess I deleted it. That's a shame. Check that out. I was going through my pictures. Josh, that's a great question. I have no clue. That was from that bait was from 2013. I painted that. Nate, it's either that or not. I think it's the grinnell. I think a grinnell has more names than any other fish. Josh, would you throw a bird topwater? I also had this one. Tweety. Um, a rainbow smelt. One of my swim jigs I put together are based around them. A rainbow smelt. If I have, I didn't know it. I don't. I've painted some smelt stuff, but I don't know what it even means. Blackbird wake bait. Does it catch them? Everything is a bird. Just ask the flip the bird frog guy. What happened to that guy? Speaking of odd topwaters, Eric, did anybody ever buy into the dude on YouTube like 12 years ago that sold the I think it was called a Clatterbrat was the brand, and he sold this frog thing called a Bart. And I bought one of these damn things, and I don't know why I Eric about it, and I don't know why I bought this damn thing, but I had something in my mind that I had decided that it made sense for me to use it, like a situation where or somewhere or some specific bite that I was looking for, and it's like, oh, I could use this there. But I bought the Death Dealer Bart. St. Chris. The dude lived out near me that made them. So I'll give it to the Bart guy, Clatterbrat. Um, the dude was like the ShamWow guy of these lures, because for one singular dude to create this bait and sell it and to market it himself, I feel like he got a pretty decent reach. I don't know how, but like I found him. Um, but the dude, he was interesting. He was an oddity. Uh, but he was all about the Bart. He could sell the Bart. Um, oh, Dingle and Gray had their baby. That's exciting. Um, I knew I hadn't heard from Will lately. Now I know why. Baby time, baby birthing time. Um, my buddy caught a huge catfish on the flats on the Bart. I'll never forget it. St. Chris, do you own a Bart? Is the Bart man still alive? I'd maybe like to talk to the Bart man. If anybody's curious as to what the hell I'm talking about, So this Bart bait, um, it was like shaped like a banana kind of. It had this kind of shape to it, like a rocking horse, but it was a solid piece of black foam, and it had an eye in the front and a single hook in the tail, and then it had two silicone skirt legs coming out the back. Um, and it was odd. It didn't work very well. I remember when I got it, I went and threw it, and I was like, "This thing sucks." But I guess that's what happened when you buy your baits from some late night homemade YouTube infomercial from a guy in Delaware. But um, the Bart, the Death Dealer Bart. I'll have to bring it. I found it at my parents' house when I was there for Christmas. I found the Bart still in the package. Um, but what was so funny is when I bought the thing, like when I received it, like I had no real knowledge of material because I hadn't got into like dicking around with building baits and stuff. So I had no idea that it was like I just looked at it and I was like, what is this thing even made of? It floats, but it's like kind of hard and but it looks like shit. But it was foam. It was like a two-part foam. Um, and that he would color with a Sharpie or something. I don't know how he colored it or I don't know what it was, but it was. I'm assuming it was some sort of foam. Uh, now that I go back and look at it, you bought Bart's and I bought the JDM plugs with naked chicks painted on them. Must have been at different stages of life. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I would like to think I was in high school, but unfortunately, I don't think I was. I think I was in college or even out of college, old enough to know better. But I'd like to know how many Barts this man sold. Uh, Most gimmicky one I got is this moto lure. Definitely entertaining to throw and does catch fish. I don't trust the mechanism. Anthony, I believe the host of Love Connection, Chuck Woolery, designed that bait. So if anybody or any of you are familiar with the 80s and 90s and remember Love Connection, 2 and 2. Be right back. When that Chuck Woolery's 2 and 2. Be right back. Uh, Chuck Woolery was a bass lure designer, and I believe he designed the Moto lure. Uh, a bunch of other shit too, but I think that was his most famous design was the Moto lure. Um, I've got a real gimmicky one over here, but I wouldn't say it's gimmicky. It's actually kind of awesome. But I'd like to know the story on it. Josh, I wonder if you know. Y'all remember what this is? That company, a cluster fudge. That was the Jeremy. You don't remember that one? It's a I forget the name of it. I'll think of it here in a minute. But it was a steerable topwater. So you could reel it and it would like go, and then you could like twitch the rod and it would slam the head to the other side and it would swim. And then you could like hit the rod again and it would turn and go the other way. So you could steer it around like wherever you wanted. Uh, and the marketing push when they came out, uh, they took it down to Mexico, and the guy was throwing it around all that timber in Mexico, and he was like walking it back and forth around, steering it around these logs and stuff. And they made a big push to like get those videos and stuff out, and then uh, they disappeared. I don't know what, like it never. I don't know that they ever tank. Yeah, 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 something like that. Um, I believe you're right, Anthony. Um, but tank. What was it? I don't remember what it's called. But tank fish. It was tank something. I think was the brand, and then the name of the bait was something different. But really cool concept. Very unique. I think certainly it was probably potentially patentable. And usually when you see that, that's a good thing. Uh, but it never. I don't know what happened to it. Triggerfish. That's it. Think tank triggerfish. That's it. Um, but the concept was awesome, and I don't see why it wouldn't catch the hell out of fish. But I don't know. I bet you see if there is a patent on it. I bet when it runs out, you will see that bait come back from one of your favorite companies, and everybody will go, "Ooh, ooh, ooh! Look at this great concept." It's like, no, no, no. Eric, I had one experience with the banjo minnow. I was fishing in this pond, and actually, the lake was over in Baldwin County, across the bay, and it was in Loxley, Alabama. And my dad knew a guy that lived on the lake and owned the property, and had a bunch of grass in it. But I didn't know jack about fishing grass at the time, so I would always run away from the grass like an idiot because I was like 12. And we had a John boat with a like a trolling motor on it, and I'd always want to go out to like the big part of the lake where there wasn't any grass. And I had a lot of nice. I learned a lot in this lake. There was the first time I ever wacky rigged was in that lake, and I didn't know what a wacky rig was, but I had it in my mind that I had some of those cream scoundrels that look like earthworms, the earthworm color. And there was a guy who had caught a 13 pounder off the bank brim fishing with a worm. So I bought those cream scoundrels and I took him out there, and I had this straight shank hook, and I rigged it through the egg sac, and there was a PVC pipe stuck out in the middle of this big pocket of this lake. There was two big arms, and one arm had all the grass in it where we launched the boat. And we were going from the boat ramp out into the big arm of the lake, going through all this grass, and there was a PVC pipe stuck out in the middle of the pocket. I don't know what it was marking, but I took my scoundrel, wacky rigged it to mimic the bank fisherman pretty much. I was like, if he caught a 13 pounder on an earthworm, I can make this look like an earthworm and like it'll wiggle around. You know, it'll look pretty close. Dude, I threw it by the PVC pipe on the way out and I let it sink. And like, cause the boat was moving, I had like tons of slack in my line. Well, I like reeled up and the fish had already like eaten my wacky rig and I didn't even know it. And I didn't even know what a wacky rig was. But because this was probably in like 1998, I guess. And once I caught up with my line, I like felt the fish and the fish jumped up and threw my wacky rig back at me. My wacky rigged cream scoundrel. And it was probably like 5.5 pounder, big one. So I was like, oh, that was a giant. But dumbass me never threw that again. Like you would think that logic would tell you, well, you hooked a 5 pounder on that. Maybe you should try it again. Uh, no, I was like, take me to the other end. Let me throw my Motorola Zoom Lizard. But anyway, so that sticks out in my mind. But also, an interesting fact about this lake is the guy had it shocked. And when they shocked the lake, they shocked up the Alabama state record largemouth bass. And the Alabama state record is 16 pounds, and this fish was over 16. So, uh, I never caught any 16 pounders out of there, but it was always in the back of my mind that that fish was swimming around somewhere. Um, but anyway, back to the original question. So we're going down the bank one day, and there's this guy fishing on the bank, and I could see his like chartreuse lure. He was like just whipping it, and I could see it flying through the air. And we got kind of close enough to him. We were fishing off the bank, but we got close enough to him. We could talk to him. Said, "Hey, what's up, dude?" And he was one of those like know-it-all bank fishermen. And he's like, "Ah, not much. Are you catching them?" He said, just got here." I'm like, okay. He's like, "You need to be throwing chartreuse." I was like, "Oh yeah?" He said, "Yeah. They can't stand chartreuse when they spawn." He said it makes them mad. I was like, "Is that so?" And I've never heard this bullshit before. And he's like, "Yeah, they can't stand it when they're spawning." He's like, "You got to throw chartreuse. You got anything chartreuse in that boat?" I was like, "Maybe." And he was like, "I got this chartreuse banjo minnow." And I was like, "Oh, this guy's a joke." Dude, I was like, "All right, good luck, dude." I like keep fishing, and all of a sudden the guy's like, eh, eh. I look back, and he's got a damn tub holding it up. He's like, "Hey," he's like, "chartreuse, I can't stand it." And I was like, "God damn, we'll never hear the end of this." And he's like, "You need to be throwing chartreuse." I'm like, "Thanks, bro." But it completely solidified his like point he was trying to make. Did I throw chartreuse? No. Did he get another bite? Probably not. But it was, I think it was some sort of divine intervention or something. But maybe it does. Does anybody else of the opinion that chartreuse when they're spawning makes them real mad? But the dude legit caught a damn giant on a chartreuse banjo minnow. Uh, the biggest one I ever caught out of there, we'll never know. Uh, Nate, I didn't have any banjo minnows. I did have banjo minnows, um, only on a spinner. There you go. Detroit Airport. What's up, Hella? Sounds miserable. Um, I did sucker my mom and dad into buying me the banjo minnow kit, and I remember how disappointed I was when I finally received it and realized how crappy the baits were. Like the whole kit was awful. Like it was garbage. And I remember waiting so long to get the banjo minnows for like a birthday or like a holiday or something. And I got the banjo minnow kit, and I remember getting it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to destroy the bass population now. Actually, I'm going to destroy the fish population because everything bites this thing. And I had it, and I opened it up and dug through it. I was like, these things suck. And then I put it in my uh, I put it in my I had like a big Chester drawers thing in my room as a kid, and I remember I put my banjo minnow kit in there, and I actually had the chartreuse ones out, and they were like laying on something else, uh, maybe a remote control, like for my TV or my VCR or something, and I remember like after a week, I went to get the remote, and that uh, banjo minnow had melted into the remote. I was like, this thing's a piece of junk. Not only are they crappy, you just ruined my VCR remote. How am I supposed to watch movies? If you didn't have the helicopter lure, the banjo minnow, or the flying lure, you aren't a real fisherman. I didn't have the helicopter lure. Believe it or not, I don't know how I missed the helicopter lure. I don't even remember seeing the infomercial hardly. But I remember seeing the banjo minnow like heavy rotation. Um, Flying lure, don't the size of the banjo minnow. The flying lure was not on my radar. The helicopter lure was not on my radar. What was on my radar was the walking worm. Y'all remember that thing? You just throw it out there and it like is curled up and then it uncurls and then like curls back and like uncurls. And the guy was down in Florida throwing it. Later, Eric, I'm about to get out of here too. I got to go out there and try and get some more baits painted. I was waiting on some to dry while I masked crankbait bills. Um, it was banned from tournaments. Uh, the sluggo, yeah, the sluggo was definitely a really cool bait. Um, I certainly rushed out and like the funny thing was is I didn't like I was so pro sluggo, I was anti zoom fluke. Like I was like sluggo fanboy. And Lunker City still makes badass stuff. Like I don't know, they're an odd company because I don't know that I've ever seen Lunker City market anything ever. Like, have they ever promoted in any shape, form, or fashion? Uh, but Lunker City makes cool stuff like the finesse. Um, we used it a lot. Ooh, got his ass. We used it a lot trout fishing. Um, but it's a good bait. Um, but people used to bitch about the Sluggo's hookup percentage. I never had a problem. I didn't think the hookup ratio on a Sluggo was that bad. Um, People used to talk about how they sucked, but I had dude pearl white sluggo. There was no. I mean, that was the bait. Or their what was their Arkansas Shiner was gorgeous. Um, that was probably my number two bait, but Arkansas Shiner was the juice, dude. Arkansas Shiner. I probably still got. I know I've got probably 30 bags of finesses in there from the years of trout fishing with them. Bubble gum. Yeah, I wasn't that at that time when the sluggo was hot. I couldn't look past realism. You know what I mean? I wanted to like matchy matchy. match the hatch, as they say. But bubblegum was fun. I didn't get into that was always my favorite trickworm color, like floating worm. Uh, but my dumb brain couldn't connect the dots. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'll throw a bubblegum trickworm, but I'll only throw a pearl whiter Arkansas shiner uh, sluggo. But the other thing about a sluggo, what a great name, exceptional name, sluggo. It just sounds fishy. It just sounds like something a fish would eat. The little grubster finesse swim bait is a good one too. Works great. Yeah, that's like a that's kind of it's similar in shape and appearance to the Kitech, but cheap. And I guess they're. I mean, I feel like last time I looked at Lunker City, their stuff was pretty reasonably priced for a pretty decent volume of stuff. Uh, Sluggo, ugly packaging. Hella, if I remember correct, their packaging was yellow and red. Are we seeing a trend here? Let's see. Hold on. If y'all give me about a 30-second count, and let's see if I can bring up some uh, a package. I don't think I have sluggos. I have the finesses. That was the same time as my cream part of life. Burple was made for my ADD. A little short and fat. Yep. All the papers come off of them. There's Arkansas Shiner. The Juice. There's another Arkansas Shiner. Here's like a golden shiner. Their colors were legit, dude. For the time, their colors were dialed. There's a rainbow trout. That one would catch the spank off of one. More Arkansas shiner. Guess what? Arkansas shiner. Rainbow trout. I think this was called like an emerald shiner or something. I don't remember. But it was all flake. Here's a saltwater assassin filled with Lunker City stuff. More rainbow trout. More rainbow trout, but they don't have any of the packaging left on them, unfortunately. But packaging comment was just a ploy to extend the stream into my plain boards, possibly. I had a worm. Actually, I'm still looking for it. Hover strolling sluggos. I would love to see the sluggo make a comeback. I don't think it's ever going to make a comeback. It made the floating worm made a soft comeback. I feel like the last couple of years, you see some guys when they went out to Fork, there was some guys throwing a floating worm out there. But I don't know if it's just like a time of year. But it seems like back in the day, like in the late '90s, early 2000s, those guys made a floating worm work like everywhere all year. Uh, I never was a huge. I never was a huge. I threw a floating worm a ton because it got tons of bites, but eventually I got away from it because I just never felt like I could get a big bite with it. Um, I felt like I could get a bigger bite with a buzz bait or a topwater or something. Um, yeah, that's the one with the blue in it, Tim. I actually still have a big pack of those somewhere. It's like blue and silvery white. Just takes the right YouTuber. That is right. That is right. The uh, Hayden, I did. I did. That was South Jersey's Christmas present for being a always logging on during the middle of the day and providing nice comments. So I just start working my way down the list. He happened to hit the right request at the right day because I happened to have a bait and he was like a pink-headed white, or instead he's like, you know, the red-headed white saltwater color. He's like, that'd be cool instead of red, the pink. And I was like, well, actually, I have a bait sitting here that needs to be painted that you would probably like. Alan, I can certainly freshen up your Hinkle trout. Shoot me a message. I'll get that thing taken care of. Make the Sluggo great again. I think you could probably make the Sluggo great again, but the only issue with that is I don't think Lunker City seems to care. You know what I mean? Like, I think they've just got their distribution set up, and I don't know though, because it seems like they just like they are locked in stores like Academy, like they're like grandfathered in, and they don't have to do anything. Maybe they sell that good. I don't know. Uh, but like if you go in any Academy, Lunker City's been in the same spot, same baits for like 30 years. Nothing ever changes. No more, no less. Beats me. I'd be uh I'd be interested to see what like if you did a poll, like if the uh if you did a poll and professional anglers couldn't lie, you had to give them all a little shot of truth serum that would completely eliminate them from lying. And you did a poll of later, Rich, a poll of all of them and asked them what, how many Lunker City products do you own? I would like to know out of 100 anglers or 200 anglers, how many of them would have a Lunker City product? I would guarantee you the majority of them would have, the ones that did would probably have a Sluggo, maybe, maybe not. I think they would definitely have that little swim bait, Tim, because those are pretty cool looking. Um, Morgan caught his first 9-pounder on some little Lunker City swim bait. The first time I ever threw it, and I'm pretty sure that's the only fish I ever caught on it. That's I don't know. I don't know why we do that. You get something and you're like, oh, this works great. I like within the first 10 minutes of fishing it, you catch like a giant, and then it goes into the trash can. You never throw it again. Um, I currently have 0 Lunker City products in the Camus. What about in your garage, man cave, tackle layer, Hella? probably have some in storage boxes. Okay, okay. Faith First Fishing still has not had a perch bite, and he's fishing with shiners. Faith First, maybe you need to find another pond or a different area, or you need to dip your shiner and spike it. Lunkers TV City nail weights. Oh, Lunker City jig heads. Pretty sure they were the first with the multi-reverse spiky collar thing. I think you're right. I think. Oh, Faith First just got one. We had to just talk it into existence. We had to tell them we were going to leave, and then they said, "No, no, no, we're here. We're right here. Don't leave me." Yeah, their skirt collars or their jig head collars were very uh, ahead of their time. I feel like Lunker City. Um, but then again, you didn't like nobody. Nobody told us that, right? Like you just had to go in the store and look at it and be like, "Oh, that looks pretty good." Like that makes sense. Um, my buddy Jim carries a lot of Lunker City. I don't know what the deal is. I would like to know what the story is with Lunker City. Who's the owner of Lunker City? Have they sold out to some? Maybe we need Omnia to carry Lunker City. Maybe so. I'm surprised they don't. Trying to make Lunker City a thing. Sluggo only tourney. Yeah, they do have cheap nail weights. I mean, I'm telling you, Lunker City is kind of legit. They just don't have the marketing to have people tell you they're legit. You know what I mean? AJ wants clear rock crawlers first, hella at Omnia, so he can use all the codes and get them for 14 cents. South Jersey? Better late than never, bro. Money laundering situation. I think you're getting Lunker City confused with Livingston. Well, did I say that? I mean, yeah, yeah. The I don't know. I'm gonna have to like that's the funny thing about Lunker City is I'll get off of here and I'll look them up on Instagram and they'll be one of those companies that has like 900 followers, but they're in every damn store in the nation, and like no telling how many like they've got like $12 million in sluggo revenue a year. Hella AJ is on Instagram. Baits chirping underwater. The only one that interested me in the chirp department, and it wasn't because it chirped, it was their popar. Because I was at the classic and I was listening to I was eavesdropping over Andy Montgomery. Well, not Andy Montgomery. Andy, what's that other Andy? The jig pitcher. Uh, uh, you know who I'm talking about. Uh, Andy Morgan. Yes, yes, yes. Andy Morgan. Andy Morgan was over there at the chirp bait booth, and he was talking to this guy, and I had my ears. I was like really studying these baits, but the whole time I was not looking. I was looking with my ears in the Andy Morgan conversation, and he was talking to some guy about the popar, And he said, he's like, yeah, we just modeled it after a P70. It's interesting. And I never bought one, but I would probably wait for one to expire and the batteries to die, and then somebody sell it cheap on eBay, and then I would potentially try the top water. But he said it was legit, but he was probably just trying to sell baits at the classic. But I don't know how much went into the design of that bait, but uh, that's what Andy Morgan said when I was eavesdropping. Uh, AJ is pouring jigs, and it was Insta only yesterday. There you go. Tim Maynard, what is your go-to sluggo? AJ, and all those 300 bins of soft plastics behind you, how many sluggos are in there? How many Lunker City products? Hella just put you in detention, AJ. He said unacceptable. Tim, you are correct. Andy Morgan, I used to love. I think I will. I mean, I need to. I'll do this video. Andy Morgan's a badass. I watched him in an FLW tournament not too long ago. Andy Morgan was one of the last cowboys. Big stick, big jig, shallow water. Yeah. AJ says 0. Probably some here at my parents' house. There you go. Morgan, that's a good idea. Let them play with it in the bathtub and let them chirp. The bean would probably enjoy the chirping lure. It's a good idea. South Jersey, funny you mentioned the packaging fall apart. I have lots of Lunker City product here, but the cardboard's all gone because they get wet and disintegrate. He is the smoothest caster alive. Hoagie makes a far better sluggo than Lunker City and Megabass. Marty, I was masking these bills off, and I've got some bait sitting outside that I'm about to go collect because I have to get them cleaned up and in the mail. Cutting some stencils tonight. Safety glasses, short prayer. Any other tips? 2 beers would probably help. And sharp X-Acto blades. That's about it. And some tape. Most of my stencils are all held together with some form of tape. The first pro level tournament Andy ever won was on Kerr. Might have been the one I was watching. That might have been the one I was watching, but he was going down the bank flipping a jig or throwing a spinnerbait. I think he was throwing a spinnerbait first thing that morning. But yeah, I miss seeing. I wish Andy would go to bass. he must really not like somebody at BASS, because I don't ever remember him. I don't has he ever fished like an open or anything bass related? I mean, he was strictly FLW, and then he went MLF. I'd love to see him on BASS. I'd love to see Brower come out of retirement and fish something just for sport. But I think Brower's enjoying the good life down at South Texas with Hella's old man. The dude was an anomaly. Yes, he was. I wish his spark would re-engage. See, I think that was like, I feel like the generation coming now is going to be so bitchy. Like the kids growing up watching fishermen now, they're going to be like, dude, Milliken was so good on live scope. Remember watching Ben on live scope? Whereas us, we watched the Andy Morgans of the world dominate with a spinnerbait and a jig in this much water. And like that's, I mean, I guess, I mean, you had Brower, you had Andy Morgan, you had, uh, you know, Biffle, you had later Hackney, but all those guys were just like the Todd Faircloth. He was super good shallow, but he won deep. He won that tournament up at like Table Rock deep. Um, but yeah, those were like, I don't know. We will have grown up around cigarettes. This generation will have grown up around vapes. Like, dude, I remember the smell of my mom's, you know, purple haze bubble gum vape, when all of us are like, oh, I remember, you know, the smell of our buddy's mom burning down Virginia Slims. Those guys wasted the last few good years on shitty MLF. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Tim, I agree. I got a belly full when I was in Kansas because I didn't bring my Bassmaster DVDs. I brought my FLW DVDs so I could get a little more well versed in my FLW stuff. But the mid 2000, like 2003 to, I mean, even 8, I didn't like the format. Once they left ESPN, it got real crappy to me. Um, KVD cranking on Toledo. Steve Kennedy wrecking them at Clear Lake. Yeah, I think that was what the move kind of was. Like in the '90s, it was like, well, I'll say that you had Mark Davis won the Classic on a fat free shad, um, and you had Fritz. So the '90s, I think those were the guys that battled each other out. Like you had the crankers. You know what I mean? You had the deep cranking crew that went out there and they'd throw a crankbait and they would do their thing, wind up plug, as they say. And then you had the bank beaters, the Browers, that would go up there with a spinner bait. And it was really interesting to me growing up, even locally, because you had the guys that were known jig flippers, and those dudes didn't do anything but throw a jig, right? But if they did anything else, if you were like a jig flipping badass, and you had one more something that you did, they always threw a damn spinnerbait, a big one. And it was like hand in hand. You were like the jig spinnerbait guy, or you were the cranker. Um, and then I think in the mid 2000s, you kind of transferred to maybe shallow cranking a little bit, got popular, and then uh, got a little more diverse. Um, but I miss the obviously the era of the jig and spinnerbait guys. Old Biff will throw a rat sometimes. Isn't there some discrepancy around the Paul Elias record? Not that I've ever heard. I don't think. I mean, somebody chime in. The Paul Elias A rig tourney. Yeah, that was a good one. Is that tournament available to watch on online? Because that was after my era of YouTube DVDs. My DVD collection ended in '08, so my FOWs go from '97 to '08, and my Bassmasters go from like the '70s to '08. Daniel, what's up, dude? Um, yeah, I need to check up on old Lynn Dollar, because I think Lynn was pretty long in the tooth when I was ordering DVDs from him. I need to see how Mr. Dollar is. A rig is not legal, but live scope is. That makes sense. Sarcastically signed, Marty Burns. Yeah. I can't throw 5 baits at the same time at water that I seemingly don't know that there's a fish at, but I can repetitively throw at a fish that I can see to potentially snag it. Hmm. Oh, you're talking about down at Falcon or Amistad, wherever he won? Falcon? I know he was throwing a big. He had that big man's like 20 plus, and then he was throwing that speed or that hot lips, Lure Jensen hot lips. But I think I think in that video you see him reach into a bag, and I think it is indeed jelly worms. Um, these crappie got to get biting. It's getting late, and one's not enough to make a meal. Nah, that'll make you a sandwich. That's about it. Might be diet time. The most impressive display of flipping pitching I've ever seen in a tournament was Dwayne Horton in an FLW tournament on Kerr Lake in '97, pouring down rain the entire tournament. I think I watched that one when I was in Kansas. I need to go back and watch that one. Dwayne Horton. I go back and look up some of these guys when it's kind of creepy, but I'll be watching these old tournaments, and you'll hear a name that like jumps out at you, and it's like, oh, I wonder what happened to that guy, Randall Romig, and then you're like, look them up on Facebook, and they're like just some random dude now. But I was thinking about that when I was in Kansas watching all these tournaments, and there was lots of guys that were pretty that FLW made big names of, but they kind of just petered out and disappeared. I don't know what happened to them. They were good anglers. I don't know where they went. Falcon allows you throwing a man's 20 plus, a hot lips, and a 12-inch jelly worm. There you go. Has anybody fished a Spro Outsider SR crankbait? I've not. I'm not a huge fan of Spro. I like their lipless, the Aruku, but I like the 3/8 one. Don't really care much for the bigger one. I like the 3/8, the junior. I think it was Jordan Lee punching in Saginaw Bay. Tennessee Bassmaster, any of the Berkeley jigs? No, I haven't fished the jigs, but I will say their new spinnerbait is legit. Not the big one, the little one. It's like 3/16. They did that one right. They built it as if they almost. If I were going to build one of those, they might have built it to my specs, with the exception to the wire. I would have probably changed the wire out, but it's pretty good. But part of me wanted to come out with a finesse spinnerbait, but I don't know. I don't like doing spinnerbaits, obviously, because it's a time suck. But I want them. I want them personally. I want a finesse spinnerbait, and I don't feel like anybody really makes a decent one. No pressure, but I need something to work on. Okay, I'll get on that, Burns. But I don't know. I don't know what the demand for little weenie stuff like that is. Can't be great because I don't feel like anybody ever sticks with like their finesse line of spinner baits. They always go by the wayside. But the Spro Outsider is a little overpriced. I get they're made in Japan, but damn, $21 to $28 kind of pricey for a Spro bait. Yeah, Doug, not really. I do like I do like the War Eagle a little bit, but the War Eagle is a little too dainty for my taste. I just I don't know. I don't I don't I don't feel comfortable. Like if I throw the War Eagle finesse, I feel like at any time with the bait being brand new, I could get a bite from a fish that would just completely dismantle the whole bait. Um, I'm not a big fan of it. It just feels too puny. Um, but I feel like there is room in my tackle building brain that part of me wants a finesse spinnerbait that's badass. I just don't want to build them. Stanley made a real good one a while back. I'll show you the last good one Stanley made. That one. I would argue that's the best spinnerbait ever made, period. Stanley. Their blades were superior. The wedge blade rivaled Hildebrandt. Tapered wire, ingenious design. Uh, Colors were great. Hook was good. Everything about that bait was perfect, and they did the the wire over wire termination to hook your the trailing blade. Probably the most thought out, well designed spinnerbait of all time that still hasn't been surpassed by anybody. If you can tell me there's a better designed spinnerbait, I would love to know it. But unfortunately, you'll be wrong, whatever you say. Like, I don't know that there is one flaw in a Stanley spinnerbait, unless you could take that the old if you could take and put like a super high end premium hook in it. Uh, but Nate A, what spinnerbait? Stanley Wedge with the vibra shaft. Uh, with the vibra shaft wire. I used to have one sitting over there somewhere. I don't know where they are. I had a bunch of them, but thank you, Alan. Um, but like seriously, if you break down the things that you need to make a spinnerbait badass, it hits them all. I mean, you don't want your blade to fly off the wire, so they bend it up and put it over the wire. Got that knocked out. When you use light wire, it makes the frame weak. Well, they've got a heavier wire at the R bend and it tapers down to the other end, so you get heavy vibration, but you still get the durability of the heavy wire. Got that knocked out. Uh, you need the same size blades that thump harder. Make a wedge blade. Skirts were good. Colors were good. Hook was good. Can't do it any better, I don't think. I feel like people would pay more for something that says Shimano. Uh, I don't know why. I wonder if Shimano. I mean, I wonder if Stanley would make me. I wonder if they still have their old molds. I wonder if Shimano would go into business with Tacklecraft and make me a run of their old baby wedges with a different hook. That would be sweet. Stanley, are you listening? Rest in peace, Lonnie Stanley. Got a picture of my dad and him at the Classic. Yeah, I'd have to talk to the Hale guy, whoever he is. I will say I ordered some jigs from him a couple years back, and great customer service, nice company. I love Stanley, not because we share the same last name, but nice people, nice people, know how to do business, nice mom and pop operations still. That's what I've always said. Uh, Tim is like when you really break down the Stanley spinnerbait, it was like 30 years ahead of its time because still nobody's beat it. Because I mean, you can't. It checks all the boxes minus the hook. Uh, minus the hook. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't bought a Stanley spinnerbait in a while. I like the ones. I like all the ones pre-molded eyes when they started molding the, which I had them. They were beautiful. Uh, when they started molding the eyes into the head, I threw a ton of those. This one. Uh, I liked the model before this without the eyes. That was just a straight solid color head. Um, but I did see somewhere, maybe it was it on Bass Blaster, that is the number one selling color. All right, Hella, have a good flight, safe travels. Costs money to build a really good spinnerbait, and most people won't pay for it. Yeah, probably right. I'll tell you, the hardest hurdle for me building a finesse spinnerbait is finding these little bitty blades. Small blades are hard to come by. Yeah, it does look nice. It does look nice. Um, it's a pretty bait. It's a beautiful bait. This one doesn't. This one doesn't have the. This wire isn't tapered. This one doesn't have the vibra shaft, and it doesn't have the wire that goes back over and loops over this. So this is an inferior Stanley. Uh, Early Terminator was good for a short time. Hayden, not in my book. I got one for Christmas when I was 12. Went out and broke it the first day on a fish. Oh, all right. I got to get out of here. Y'all be good. Nice talking blades with you. If you would like to submit your spinnerbait for the goat status on top of a Stanley wedge with vibra shaft wireframe, if you would like to submit, please send it to my junk file, because that's what the spinnerbait you're submitting is probably going to be. Bull. Oh, you love building a good spinnerbait. I thought you said I love Bulldog. Bulldog made a good spinnerbait. It was a all Bulldog was. I don't, or it wasn't Bulldog. Was it Bulldog? No, it was Hog Collar. That was the Man's Classic without the twisted wire. It just had the regular R-bend. Um, but I remember Davey Height used to throw that Bulldog. All right, y'all be good. Talk to you maybe tomorrow. See you guys later. Peace. Adios.